Hello and welcome to the Financial Goddess channel. I am Margaret Milutinovic, your finance and business expert. In today's video, we are going to be talking about business strategies for 2023. This video is not a repeat of 2022 like some other famous YouTubers do. Rather, it's a fresh approach looking at biggest challenges for your business in 2023, as well as some strategies of how you can prepare your business for the best outcome for yourself. So without further ado, let's look at the top 7 greatest challenges for your business in 2023 as according to the Forbes magazine. We have inflation and economic downturn, supply chain security, the increasing customer expectations, accelerated digital transformation. They reckon the war of talent will continue to intensify. There is the data and device security issues, so the cybersecurity breaches and sustainability. So let's start with the inflation and economic downturn. Of course, inflation is outside of your control, and so is economic downturn. However, that's not to say that you don't have a control or some level of control over the financial performance of your business. So the first thing I want you to do as part of your strategic review and planning for 2023 is to pull out your profit and loss statement for January till December of 2022. And I want you to also ensure that you're running it with comparison period of January 2021 to December of 2021. If you have an option of running it with the percentage of total gross revenue, make sure that you include that in your report as well. Once you do that, we are going to now look at your financial KPIs to get you ready for 2023. The first thing I want you to look at is your gross revenue for 2022 as in comparison to 2021. How did you go? Did your gross revenue improve? Did it stay the same or did it drop? For majority of businesses, the revenue would have had at least slightly improved because 2021, there was a lot of government constraint on operations of the businesses, not excluding the lockdowns, which impacted on your business revenue. 2022 was the year of recovery, therefore, you should have hopefully seen some sort of improvement to your gross revenue. Next thing I want you to look at is the total figure for your total expenses. So that figure most likely has increased to 2021, predominantly because of increased cost to wages, superannuation, and of course, inflation that pushed prices further up. The next thing I want you to look at, and the most fun number, is the net profit margins. So look at the dollar figure for 2022 and 2021. If you want to work it out as a percentage and your accounting system doesn't automatically do that for you, the way to work out the net profit margins as a percentage, you divide that dollar figure of net profit, divide it by gross revenue, multiply it by 100, and it will give you the percentage of your net profit margin. So when I did that exercise across my businesses, for me, the net profit margins for 2022 were sitting at just over 30%. Very healthy, especially considering the market. How did you go? Please let me know in the comments below. Next, we're going to drill down on the top 5 expenses. This is important. Please exclude please exclude salaries and wages, and just focus on all your other expenses. So the top 5 expenses as a percentage of your total gross revenue. Now we're doing that because this will be the areas that you'll most likely need to focus if you need to reduce your overall expenses and thereby increase the profitability of your business in 2023. Most people mistakenly think that automatically you should just pass on the total increases in your operating costs to your customers or clients, but that is a big mistake. Most clients, most consumers at the moment are quite price sensitive. And if you're not very good with the financial management of your business and you allow your operating costs to spiral out of control, assuming you can just simply pass it on to your clients, if your competitor is much better at managing their business financials, then your customers or clients will go to your competitors. So it's important that rather than taking the lazy or the rookie approach of just passing on the increases, you really review it with laser sharp focus. And focusing on the top 5 expenses is your starting point. Next, I want you to look at your revenue streams. If you haven't started doing category tracking in 2022 and your system allows you, please make sure you set it up for 2023. If you don't know how to do it, speak to your accountant or a bookkeeper. I personally use Xero accounting software in which I select tracking categories both for myself and in my clients' businesses. The 2 tracking categories that I use and that I use most commonly are revenue streams by services or products and by region. So this allows you to better understand which lines of your business generate the highest profit margins for you. And of course, this should be the areas that you should be focusing on in 2023. Unless you're developing a new product or service line. Now, I also run it by regions. So for my accounting practice, the top 3 regions for me were Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria, which is unsurprisingly really because I am based in Queensland and I have been for the last 3.5 years. Prior to that, I have relocated my business from New South Wales, and that's my second highest, it's reflected. And the last region is Victoria. Again, if your business operates in multiple regions, it can be helpful to determine how you're going to plan your marketing campaigns and where should you be diverting most of those funds. Even if you're doing campaigns yourself on social media, if you understand where most of your revenue is coming from, where most of your clients are based, it's a lot easier to target those regions. It further allows you planning. If you're around events and domestic travel, when you see where most of your clients are based, it's a lot easier to make those decisions. For my international business, 56% of my service revenue came from virtual CFO services and 29% came from business coaching. A lot of revenue in that business comes from investing activities, and I have excluded those from the percentages and the calculations. And in my international business, 51.5% of my clients were domestic, so based in Australia, and 48.5% were international. So those sort of numbers, you're able to see those numbers once you start tracking categories. If you've got that, use that data. It's invaluable for you to determine where should you divert your resources in 2023. If you cannot track it with that level of accuracy at the moment, make sure that you write it down, that one of your goals for 2023 is to better track various revenue streams in your business. Once you work it out, the best way for you to tackle the inflation and the economic downturn is to have a strong grasp and understanding of your financials and really seeing where you can trim down on your expenses to improve the business profitability. You need to have enough margin to be able to absorb the overall increases that are coming your way. The second thing that you need to look at, if it's applicable to your business, is the supply chain security. That is a big challenge for 2023 for a lot of businesses. So understand where your major suppliers are and have a look for alternative options. The next thing that you need to focus on is your customer expectations. According to Forbes, the customer expectations are increasing. However, I don't want you to just be chasing your tail, because I have seen many unfair reviews to good small business owners. So what I want you to do instead, as you're planning your strategies for 2023, I want you to drill down on your top 10 customers, and I want you to drill down on your bottom 10 customers. And the best way to do it is, again, going into your accounting software, pulling out your aged receivables or your debtors or your invoice report, and look at the customers that generated you most revenue in 2022. Where does your most revenue come from? And you'll probably see, as is the case for majority of businesses, that 80% of the revenue comes from only 20% of your clients. And accordingly, 20% of your revenue comes from 80% of your clients. You need to be strategic. You need to work smarter and not harder in 2023. Work out who your bottom 10 customers are. So your bottom 10 customers will be people that don't value your product or service. They don't pay you on time. They might be people that you had to send through to the debt collection agency. There might be people where simply the price point at which they're willing to pay for a product or service doesn't cover your cost of servicing them. And you need to be real with that. You cannot, to run a business, and to be long-term sustainable, you need to run all your projects at a profit. Occasionally, we all make mistakes and we might underquote. But overall, you need to be very mindful. If you have a customer with very small profit margins, or if you have a customer that worse still, you're running the project at a negative, it's costing you a lot more time and money to keep them satisfied and meet their requirements versus what they are willing or able to pay you. These are the bottom 10 customers that you need to be serious about cutting off from your business. Now, if you refocus that 80% of resources that you're spending on the 20% of your lowest paid clients, if you refocus that 80% of the resources on your top 20 clients, or on multiplying that type of client and attracting that to your business, automatically your business is going to be more successful and more profitable. On the other hand, if you're seeking financial freedom and you want to have more time on your hands, imagine how much more time will you have on your hands. As a small business owner, if you simply make a decision in 2023 to cut off customers, the bottom 10 customers that have unrealistic expectations that drain 80% of your resources. Next thing is the accelerated digital transformation. That is a challenge for a lot of businesses. A lot of small businesses are struggling. The cost of living in a digital age is expensive. It's not sustainable for many small businesses. Now in Australia, Australian government offers a lot of different grants to help small businesses move into that space. However, then there is that issue of cybersecurity. We all know the case of HCF and Optus, what happened with the customer data breaches. Now, one of the things I would strongly recommend to you add it in your to-do list for 2023 is seek cybersecurity consultant. Just pay them for a one-off audit so they can give you a checklist of what you're currently doing in your business and what you should add to it. I'm not talking, you don't have to have millions of dollars in your business to make it harder for the cyber attack. It's just making it a little bit more challenging and discouraging them from targeting your small business. And the next thing I want you to do is have a look at the cybersecurity insurance and have a chat to your insurance broker and review the inclusions and exclusions to make sure that you're paying for something that can be of value should there be cybersecurity breach. I also want you to review your current data management policies, both for your customers or clients, as well as for your employees. You are responsible for maintaining that security. So review your policies and identify areas for improvement. I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but I know that when my businesses have undergone through that process, there was few quick and easy fixes that we were able to do as a business to reduce the risk of cybersecurity. Don't put it in a too hard basket thinking that it's too costly and you have so much on your plate, because the cost to your business can be tremendous. So it is important. Do seek cybersecurity consultant and do make sure that you get cybersecurity insurance in place. The final thing is sustainability. I want to share with you a few global statistics in terms of businesses' bankruptcies, not to alarm you, but to hopefully bring home the message of why this conversation is so important and so different to my business strategies for 2022 video. So the global bankruptcy statistics are that for 2022, and the year hasn't ended yet, we are looking at about 10%. Now, if you're comparing it to a global average over the years between 1999 and 2021, was average of about 6% of businesses every year that would go under. So for 2022, the forecast is sitting at 10%. But 2023 is about to start, and that grows to 15%. So when I'm talking about your financials, when I'm asking you to look at your profit and loss, to look at your top 5 expenses, to look at your net profit margins, it's effectively to focus on the most important strategy for 2023, and it's to save your business from becoming part of the 15% statistic of small to medium-sized businesses that go under. Most common ways in Australia that the bankruptcy happens is if ATO, which is the Australian Tax Office, forces you into the bankruptcy. And they do that now. They didn't do that during the pandemic. In fact, most of the revenue collections tax offices around the world have paused debt collection and were very lenient during the 2 years of pandemic. That has now changed. The governments are in deficit, billions of dollars in deficit, and they have implemented aggressive debt collection strategies. In particular, if you owe superannuation guarantee in Australia, or you're overdue on your compliance, buses, income taxes, you can be assured that ATO is closely keeping an eye on you. So one of the things you have to make sure of when you are now reviewing your profit and loss and thinking, is my business sustainable in the long term, is getting real with yourself and understanding those numbers. If you're not proactive about turning your business into a profitable entity, ATO can knock on your door, or the tax office equivalent in your country, and can force bankruptcy onto you. Healthy business trades at a profit. A healthy business can meet all of its financial obligations as and when they fall due. If you have, say, a tax debt you are not trading solvent. If you're constantly falling into a bigger debt, which would happen if you have a bus on the payment plan and you're not paying enough towards it, and then the next bus period happens and you add that onto the payment plan, but you never actually put enough money aside, very quickly that can spiral out of control. ATO can see that. And there's not a lot that we can do as your accountants. So what I want you to do as you're preparing for the 2023, all the 7 challenges are important. The inflation and economic downturn, supply chain security, the increased customer expectations, the digital transformation, the skills shortages, data security. The one you should focus the most is sustainability. You have to be very brave to have that conversation with your accountant. Is your business viable? Not all businesses are. If your business is not viable, then the best option for you is to cut your losses and go and get a job. The market is competitive, there is skills shortages, and running a business is not for everyone. It's everyone's dream, everyone wants to run a business, but the reality is that not everybody has what it takes to be able to successfully run a business. So now as you're focusing in 2023, hopefully you have a clearer picture in terms of understanding the risk of your business going bankrupt, and hopefully have a better understanding of the importance of focusing on your net profit margins.